So hey Ted, you want to do a video about bards today?
All right, whoa, stop right there. I know what you're thinking, and before we go any further, I am not doing any singing on this video. You do it.
Oh man, I can't sing. I can't subject the internet to that. Just imagine the atrocity of it all.
It could go viral.
Maybe, but maybe in the wrong way. Perhaps, Ted, we should just do a video on the best race to play a bard.
Okay.
Welcome to Nerdarchy. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and today I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Do you want practical D&D content you can drop right in your game?
If the answer is yes, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
We're finally going to be finishing up our best race to play this character class, in this case, the Bard. So I guess let's dive into it.
You know, looking at it, we've got 29 races that have a bonus to charisma, you know, from all the books. Because obviously, if we're playing a Bard, charisma is going to be our prime stat, and that's one of the things that we're going to have to look at.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. One, your bard is, heavily invested in the social pillar of D&D, which is based off of charisma. And then they're also a charisma spellcaster. So, yeah, charisma is going to be our prime stat. We can possibly have to worry about other stats depending on what kind of bard we want to play, like maybe strength, maybe dexterity. Constitution's good for everybody. Are you playing a more, smarty pants intellectual type bard than intelligence? But primarily, no matter what kind of bard you play, you're going to be worried about charisma.
So, I mean, Bard is one of those. I mean, especially in earlier editions, they required more stats. And as you said, depending upon how you're trying to play your Bard is going to be where you place those other stats are all going to depend upon the priority of how you want to play that Bard.
All very true. I guess before we jump into it, as always, there is the disclaimer, because certain races just are good at playing pretty much any class. Although I will say some of them on our any class list are actually really good bards anyway.
That's true. But what are those disclaimers? We've got those races that have those floating +1s that can go to any stat. So we've got human, we've got half-elf, we've got the Simic hybrid, and we've got the Warforged Envoy.
Right, so they're all great for playing anything. Some of them are actually really good at bards anyway, but we're going to get into that when we get deeper into the list. While we're throwing out disclaimers, let's put this one out there. This is a sponsored video by D&D Beyond. It is a great resource for us for making videos, but also for playing the game of Dungeons & Dragons. Whether you're talking about making characters using their character builder, campaign management, or even just creating monsters over there.
I find D&D Beyond is a great resource, for any which direction you want to go. But beyond that, there is loads of free content with videos and articles over there. So even if you want to just go and check it out, check out the stuff that's on the SRD, D&D Beyond is well worth your time. Go check it out.
So with that, let's jump back into the Bard. All right, so we've been breaking these down a little bit differently, and so we're going to start with by the books, and the first book we're going to start with is the first one that came out, the Player's Handbook.
Player's Handbook is going to give us 6 options. We've got your Dragonborn, we've got your human, we've got your Drow, we've got your half-elf, we got the Lightfoot halfling, and, of course, the ye old tiefling.
Right, so there's plenty of choices there. All of them are great, depending on what kind of bard you want to go to. So with that, we'll move right to the next book.
That's going to be Volo's Guide to Monsters. What do we have over there?
Volo's Guide to Monsters. We have Azamar. We have Triton. We have the Tabaxi.
All good choices.
But let us not forget the Yuan-ti Pureblood.
I mean, that's one of those that dances on the scale, but,
And next, we're going to jump into Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, where we actually have 2 race choices, but we've, a bunch of sub-races choices.
All right, so we have Elf and we have Tiefling. The Elf is going to be the Eladrin. Totally makes sense. But then we have 7 options under Tiefling for, different sub-races.
Yeah, so you can definitely make the kind of bard you want there, depending. With that, let's head over to Eberron with Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron.
And here we have another, staggering 7 options for race that get a bonus to charisma.
Yeah, you're going to get the Changeling. You're going to get a bunch of elves. A lot of the elf sub-races tend to be dragon marks, so sort of sub-races.
I mean, those things are all, interesting features that is unique to Eberron. So you can't not talk about it.
I mean, the gnome is the same way with House Civis. You also have the Kalistar over there, the Swift Stride Shifter, and of course, we have the Warforged Envoy.
The next thing we're going to get into is that's our last, and that's going to be Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
We get a whopping one choice there.
And that happens to fall into, our, disclaimer, and that's the Simic Hybrid.
Yeah, you get those floating pluses, so they can make, they can make a great bard or anything else for that matter.
All right, so I guess the next section that we get into, now that we've looked at mechanically, statistic-wise, I guess we can go into the other side of the mechanics and look at the features.
Okay.
What do races get that would make them a better bard?
So for this, we kind of had to look at, is it going to make them a better entertainer, or is it going to make them better at the social pillar of Dungeons and Dragons?
And that seems to be the two mainstays of what bards do. So totally makes sense for us to break it down that way.
So we kind of like have subsections here. And the first one is we kind of went with animal performers.
All right, so you've got your forest gnome. They've got the ability to speak with animals or certain types. They've got animal companions they can have. You've got your furbolg, which kind of falls into the exact same makeup, and then you've got your Yuan-ti, who can wind up being snake charmers because they can talk to snakes.
Well, they don't talk to snakes. They have animal friendship towards snakes that they can cast on snakes. So all of them, and not only that, they also all have magic as well that they could incorporate into their performances. And then, I imagine if they have the ability to communicate with different animals, it would be much easier for them to incorporate those animals into their performances.
You could, since you're talking to it, you could literally train and, have them work and that be brought into your act. So it totally works.
Why pull the rabbit out of your hat when you can just tell it to come on out?
Very true. So I guess next we're going to look at our social pillar and, races that are going to get things to make them better there.
Yeah, I feel like certain races just have a certain degree of mastery. In this case, we have the half elf, we have the changeling, we also have the Kalistar and Warforged Envoy.
So the Warforged Envoy seems to be, built for going and talking to different races. I mean, come on, Envoy is in the name, and isn't that kind of what that means?
I believe so, and not only that, for all of these particular choices, I also look at bards as like your natural diplomats, and they can fill, or ambassadors, they could fill a lot of other roles. So I feel like all these races are going to lend heavily to that kind of aspect.
I couldn't agree more. So the next, we're actually going to jump back into performing, but as opposed to with animals, now we're going to talk about magical performers.
All of our animal performers could have really fit into this category as well, but we decided to give them their own just because they had that little extra oomph. But here, you're going to have Tiefling, you're going to have the Drow, as well as the Eladrin for our elves. We're going to have Tritons. We're going to also have the Gith.
Gith, come on. How are Gith magically performing?
Well, I didn't see them at first, but they do get things like Mage Hand and Detect Thoughts. So they do get different abilities. Jump for the Gith Yankee. So they definitely have different abilities that they can magically infuse their performances with. Or if you're going with the logic of bards also would make great diplomats and ambassadors, well, I feel like someone that could read people's minds and stuff, especially if they can figure out how to do it on the sly, is going to get a little extra mileage out of that gig as well.
All right, so your Gith Zerai could kind of be those stage performers that could kind of give some false divinations because they're reading your minds.
You could totally go John Edwards with it. And he's like, I'm sensing someone has lost someone in this audience.
And your Gith Zerai could totally be your physical performers.
And then also, we just have a blanket entertainment section as well. And in there we have the Kenku, as well as humans, because very human, you can just pick whatever feat you need. Kenku with their voice mimicry, I think they would make great stand-up comedians or ventriloquists maybe.
So somebody mocks you, you literally can just mock them right back in their own voice. How great would that be?
Yeah, so there's a lot of choices here that you can kind of enhance your performance with as a bard, depending on which race you go with.
We've looked at all of the mechanical options that are out there for, bard with the features, with stat bonuses. Now we're actually going to break down the theme of what the bard is and what races truly speak to that just on, their culture, their upbringing, that kind of stuff.
We've got 5 that we went with on this one. And, with that, humans, because they can pretty much do anything. Half-elves, because they're already socially oriented. Changelings, because, well, changelings.
Tabaxi.
As well as the Warforged Envoy. So to kind of like delve into these a little bit, Warforged are literally designed and built for a specific purpose. So I feel like they could be built for being the bard, right? For being someone who's going to infiltrate and get into places, or be ambassadors or diplomats.
Humans, I really look at D&D has kind of embraced that. As a whole, humans are the most prolific race in, every campaign setting that's out there. So naturally, they're going to be adept at anything. That's kind of how they were racially designed. And as a whole, if they're going to be good at everything, good at anything, they're going to fall into that spectrum that it fits that they could be a bard.
Now, the changelings literally live their lives fulfilling other roles. So they're like, their natural state is kind of like acting and role playing.
They would be really great at D&D, huh?
They would be really great at D&D. Finally, the Tabaxi. Tabaxi have a strong tradition for storytelling. And what is a bard but a storyteller?
Absolutely. I love the lore of the Tabaxi. It's rich and it's fun. And, getting charisma and dex, that could be really useful for playing a bard. So definitely works out for me. All right. So, every time we do this best race, we got to give you, top 3 choices for best race to play a bard. And we sometimes we break it down and we bust it up as it's this or it's that. But here we're literally going to give you, your bronze, your gold, your silver, bronze, silver, gold, whatever order it's supposed to be in. So who's our 3rd place?
All right, third place is human, and the reason why is the human is just so versatile. You can, especially if we're talking the variant, you're going to get that extra skill. You're going to get that feat where you can put it wherever you want, and that's going to kind of like customize what kind of bard you are.
Absolutely. That feats are so interesting, so versatile, so powerful within 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And this will allow you to specifically begin crafting exactly the kind of bard that you want to play. So if you're looking to go Valor, if you're looking to go Lore, these things are going to build you upon those steps so much easier.
Next we have Changeling.
All right, Changeling is an amazing race. And regardless of whether you're talking about, talking to other people, talking about performing, deceiving, persuading, having the ability to alter and change your forms like the Changeling do, this tool becomes so powerful for playing a bard that it was almost pushing my top one out of, and I almost gave Changeling first place.
Yeah, not only that, they're very versatile. Whether you want that secondary stat to be Dex or Intelligence, they're skill heavy. So which is a recurring theme with your bard anyway. So they just fit really well. So with that, Ted, who was our top number 1 pick?
All right, because they get mechanically a +2 bonus to charisma and, floating stats, because they get 2 skills and some other features besides, I don't think there's another race out there that beats a half-elven bard.
Half-elven bard really works. I mean, they live between 2 worlds. Oftentimes, they're described as natural diplomats. So I find that the half-elf is a great choice.
So, guys, the question goes out to you, to you out there viewing. Do you agree with us? Do you not? There's a great place to continue that conversation, and that's down in the comments below.
Hey, if you guys like the content that we're putting out here on YouTube and you want to support us even further than watching our videos, go check out our Patreon. We're making things over there every month that you can plug into. We're putting out products there to enhance your D&D game. You can get them for less. You can get them early over there. We have some other benefits. Greatly recommend you check out the Patreon.
Great way to support our channel is to support our sponsors. So while you're heading down to the comments, check out the description and that link to D&D Beyond.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.